G'day friends and welcome to another one of my videos. Now today we're doing a review of the Canon EOS WEBCAM Utility 1.0 that I recently got my hands on. I wanted to find out how good it was, what quality it captures, and if it can do anything that's good for your web conference. So if you want to find out what it can do for you, well then stick around. And welcome back. Now, I've been waiting for this software for a little while. I gave the beta a miss because I just wanted to test a more thorough and complete piece of the software. Thankfully, Canon dropped me a note to say that it was released in Australia. I couldn't get my hands on it from the US server, and so I finally got my hands on it and I've installed it on my PC. Now it is only up to today's date, which is the 2nd of October, only been released for Windows. And I must say, I'm looking forward to seeing the Mac version of it. So obviously I can get better use of my device. If you want to get your hands on the software, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is navigate to the Canon website and find your camera. I've got the M50, so here it is. Then I've clicked on the support tab, and that's taking me straight to this part of the website where I can click on the link to support and downloads. Now, the very first downloadable file is the EOS WEBCAM Utility 1.0 for Windows. Now, it has not been released for Mac. That's on its way. So I can't wait to get my hands on that one so I can test it on my Mac as well. But right now, Windows is what we got to play with. So download it. It's a zip file. It's very easy to install. You won't see an utility on your PC because it's more drivers than anything else. So it will automatically work when you plug in your camera using your USB cable from the M50, and it's quite simple to use. Now, while you're there, make sure you get a driver update for your M50. Right now, you can download the drivers for the M50 of version 1.02, which corrects some bug fixes when it comes to JPEG files, and I think you'll find that pretty useful. While you're there, you might as well get the two things done at once. Now, installing the software was pretty easy and pretty intuitive, so I really didn't have any problems with that. And then I just plugged in my M50 using an HDMI cable. Now, I've plugged this to a HDMI 3.0 port. Now, I don't know whether it's going to have any major impact on the transfer speeds because the port on the camera is only a USB 2.0. So I think it's going to be doing what it's meant to be doing with any cable, so you should be okay with that. Now, to see if this is all working the way it should be, I am going to flip over to my desktop to show you how I can tell you what kind of quality we're recording and do a bit of a test to see what the camera is actually recording. So I'll switch over there to it right now. Now, the best test that I found is just to bring up the camera utility on Windows, and hopefully there I am. So hi. So if you can see, I've got my settings at 1/50 frame rate at an f2.8 aperture, and I'm using auto ISO so it can regulate the actual exposure. Now, I don't need to use an ND filter in here because it's not enough light to require one. Now, I did have a little bit of a problem when I first started using it for the first time. So if you have a look at this recording, as you can see, there's a little blue box around my face where the focus was happening. Now, for some reason, I can't explain it to you. When I started playing around with the settings on the camera, it eventually disabled that now that I'm doing it again. But for some reason, I could not explain what was causing it. So I'm going to do a little bit of a review to figure out what is causing that blue box when I'm recording. But for some reason, once I reset the settings to eye detect and I set it to servo mode instead of one shot mode autofocus, then it just went away. So thankfully, I got rid of that problem. So let's have a look here on the desktop. I go to the cog setting, and then it is telling me that the video quality being captured is at 720p, 16:9, 30 frames per second, which is pretty good as far as webcam utility is concerned. Now, what we want to do is obviously provide a good image, but as you can see, we've got some beautiful bokeh. The actual background is nice and blurry, so you've got this beautiful separation between foreground and background, which is exactly what you need when you I guess want to keep things private in the background when you're doing your web conferences. So I think it's doing the trick just fine. Now, is it good enough for everything else? Maybe not, but we've got to remember that the USB port only has so much data throughput. So until we start using USB-C, we probably won't see 1080p frame rate for a little while. But the M50 720p, I'm pretty happy with what it can do. So obviously, for those of you in a pinch, for some reason you haven't been able to buy a webcam and you're working from home, or you want to, I guess, have a better production from your webcam or your web conferences where you want to get this background separation, this is a great way to do it. So I'm pretty happy with the utility. It does what it's supposed to be doing at 720p, 30 frames per second. It's taking the advantages of the camera settings, so I can set the shutter speed, I can set the aperture to give me that good nice bokeh in the background. So one of the advantages of using this particular method is that it also allows you to use the flippy screen at the same time. So what's happening here is that I'm getting a clean video image from the USB port, but I'm also getting the settings on the flippy screen. Now, that is unfortunately not the case when you use the HDMI port. On the M50, when you plug in something into the HDMI port, it automatically disables the screen. And so you can't actually modify any of the settings. So it does have a lot of downfalls because it does not have that clean HDMI out. So thanks, Canon. Obviously, we waited a little bit long, maybe been a bit too late in the piece, but at least we're in this position where we've got version 1, and then we can see what else can come of it when it progresses to future versions. So, am I happy with this utility? Yes, I am. Thank you very much. So once again, it is something that we've been waiting for quite a long time. That was it, guys. A quick little tutorial on the Canon EOS WEBCAM UTILITY 1.0. If you have any questions, post them down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for all your support. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Your support does help. And until the next time, ciao for now.